What's up, Edgar community? Excited to be back with you here today. So yesterday we talked a little bit about LinkedIn, right? And today we're going to dive into Instagram. It is one of the things that I think is really important to understand, like the behind the scenes and how the algorithms work in order to make sure your content is showing up well. So first, we're going to dive into a little bit about how the Instagram algorithm surfaces content in people's feeds. Then we're going to pop over to some lessons that MeetEdgar has learned throughout the past year when Instagram was a huge focus for us. As you know, we recently released our Instagram push notification features, recently, relatively in the last year, about a year ago now, and we decided ourselves to dive into some new tactics. So I'm going to share some of those with you today. The first and foremost thing that I really want you to focus on is creativity really requires you to have a clear output. So get really clear on what you want to accomplish and what your message is on Instagram. I say this a lot, but truly a confused mind does not buy. So we have to have this idea of what we want to sell to people, why we are selling it, the reason, the values, the mission that make up our business, really clearly defined before we write any piece of content. So many people skip this step thinking, oh, that's all right, I just need content out there. But your content is not going to be effective unless you take this step first. So do yourself a favor, do the work, and truly look into the clarity around what your business's mission is. And that will allow you to be so much more creative and open up that space on Instagram. And remind yourself too that these are real life followers. People on Instagram following you, they're real people. They're just not a number count on the top of your screen. And I think so often that's something that we forget, that we're speaking to real humans. So if we can remember that, way easier to create content, because when you say, I don't know what to post, you're typically saying, I don't know who my followers are. I don't know what they want to hear. So get to know your followers by going to their profiles. I know it takes a little extra work, but set aside half an hour for yourself this week and go to some of your followers' profiles themselves and learn who they are. Learn what kind of content would really support them. That's how you grow a strong community who is interested in your content, if you show that interest. Social media is all about creating friendships, right? How do you create a friendship in real life? You get to know that other person. It can't just be a one-sided communication vehicle where we're just talking at people. That does not work. It's talking with people about concepts that we both have an interest in. It's about improving together, laughing together, engaging together. You can't do that if you don't really know the other person on the other side. So see who those people are. That's definitely going to be your step number one for kind of helping to define what your brand voice is on Instagram. And really, when you want to go out there and say, I want to improve the experience for people, you need to make sure that your posts are showing up in their feed. So what does Instagram look at when they curate your feed? Here we go. So there's 4 different things that they put out a couple years ago in one of their releases. One of them is a post will show up in their feed first and foremost with signals on how interested that person is going to be in the post. Algorithms are there in order to serve posts to people that matches their interests. So how Instagram actually determines if you're interested in a post or not is if you've viewed posts like that in the past. So they look at your dwell time if you've stopped and actually viewed posts that are very similar to yours. Guys, the AI in Instagram is insane. They can take a look at what's in your pictures. If it's people, if it's quotes, if it's dogs, whatever it is, they can actually tell from the photo, not just the caption. So they're looking to see what types of photos you really are attracted to. They see what types of posts you like. That is a signal to the algorithm you like that kind of posts. They see what you've commented on, what you've interacted with, what stories that you watch, what stories that you scroll back on, and posts that you're tagged in. All of these things go into an engagement score for what type of content you would most like to see in your feed. So when Instagram first released their algorithm, it used to be in what they call a reverse chronological order. So people would see those newest posts first and go all the way back. And they were finding that people didn't really engage with any of the posts there because they weren't actually curating them in a way people liked. So this is actually a good thing that the algorithm now takes into account your own interests. Thank you, Instagram, for that one. So this is really important for you as a business owner, again, to go to your followers' profiles on Instagram and see what they post themselves, see what they comment on, see what they like. Go saved part, on Instagram, there's that sort of ribbon looking feature on the posts there. You can see what they save in their collections. This is a really good signal for you about what type of content they're going to like for you to reproduce to get those engagement factors. So, if a person that you see always likes quotes or graphics, or they save in their collection a lot of inspirational quotes, this is a great signal for you that Instagram is going to show that person a lot of quotes, right? Because they've already signaled they want to see that. The second factor that goes into the Instagram algorithm is post recency. So that is still in there. They want to show the most up-to-date information. As humans, what do we like? We like to be the first to know things, right? So this goes into it a lot. We want to see the most up-to-date things. So Instagram does still take that into account. So it's really important for you to make sure that the times you're posting are when your followers are online. Pro tip, using a scheduling tool like MeetEdgar makes that a whole heck of a lot easier. Rather than you having to stop a meeting to post, Edgar will go ahead and take care of that for you, right? So make sure that you go in there and look at things like your insights. If you have an Instagram business account, you can go to your insights and see when the majority of your followers are online. Take that into account at the times you should be posting. There's also a lot of third-party apps that will go ahead and analyze your followers. You could use something like that. And I believe one's called When to Post. That's pretty popular. So look into this as a really serious way because it does go into the Instagram algorithm, that recency of the post. The third factor here is how close you are to the account sharing your posts. So what's coming up in your feed is going to be curated in the fact that if you have already engaged with a post from that feed or from that person before, that's more likely going to show up in your feed than a post that you're just passively following from an account that you've never liked to post for, right? So really make sure that you're taking advantage of this and getting your engagement rates up by going out and commenting on your followers' posts and asking them a question so they'll comment back to you. If they comment back to you and they mention you with your handle, that makes it likely that Instagram's algorithm will say, oh, cool, they really go on to this account, they engage with this account, show them more from this account. So you don't have to passively wait for people to reach out to you and to get that engagement rate. You can go ahead and reach out to them, right? Go ahead and do this strategy for about a week. Spend half an hour a day doing this, and I promise you, you will see your reach and your engagement rates go up so much. The more you interact with people through comments, through DMs, through tagging them, the more likely your post will show up in their feed. Unless it truly is depending upon how often you use Instagram. If you don't use Instagram super often, they might show you older posts that have more of a engagement interest to you. If you're on Instagram every 5 minutes, hey, no judgment. All of us do it sometimes. If you're on Instagram every 5 minutes, they'll show you more of those recency posts. So they always try to show you the best content that ends up in your feed. You knowing this arms you as a business owner to be able to really produce really great, consistent content. And truly, it is no surprise that things like consistency and engagement matter the most because these are pillars of social media marketing. If you are a brand who's not consistently showing up, why would your followers have any interest in paying attention to your content? If you don't have a clear call to action about what you want them to do as the next step, why would they do anything at all, like comment, like, or share? You have to take that initiative and remember why people are on social media, to connect with real people, friends and family, and to use these things to your advantage. Other things that I really like for you to kind of think about is go out there and see what your competitors, others in your industry, we really love to say collaboration over competition, so I hate using that word all the time, but what your competitors are actually doing, and see the posts that are getting the most engagement on their feeds. Go ahead and look at what is really compelling people to like, comment, and share on those, and see if you can remind yourself that you can take those tactics back into your own social media strategy. The other thing you want to do on your competitors' feeds is look for how you are different. Look for what you agree with or disagree with within your industry, because some of the times that polarizing content, if you look at some sort of topic in your industry different than others do, putting that out there will help attract the right people to your site. We are a little bit afraid to polarize sometimes in what we think in our thought leadership because we're people pleasers, a lot of us, you know. Marketers in general are really interested in pleasing people, making sure that we're solving their pain points. But if you can go out there and remind yourself to have a unique point of view, to have that unique perspective is so important. You're then able to see, okay, this is what differentiates me. Let's highlight this in my Instagram so much more. So truly, guys, take these kind of algorithm changes that they've made and think how you can really customize your feed to get more engagement and continue to be consistent. And when you're doing this, it doesn't have to be something that you feel like you have to just write a small, short, witty caption all the time, because Instagram actually does a lot of analysis around how long people stay on your post. So that's what we have referred to as dwell time. So if people are dwelling on your post for a long time, they'll say, wow, this person is really actually interested in reading this. So do some experimenting and seeing if you can write some longer form captions on Instagram. You know, a lot of people will cite this study, I think HubSpot did it, that if you have a caption that's over 500 characters, you'll get a lot more engagement on that post and it'll get a bigger reach. And it's theorized that this is because of that dwell time. So take that to your advantage and start experimenting with a micro blogging strategy on Instagram. Other types of content that work really well in 2020 for producing consistency is what we call episodic content. So what's episodic content? Episodic content is the stuff that you remind your followers you are going to show up at the same time every day, and you leave people kind of in a cliffhanger, right? Like a loop. So what that is you going out and saying, you know, every day I am going live on Instagram at 9 a.m. and I'm answering your questions. That episodic content reminds people that you'll be there every single day. Leave them with a teaser at the end to invite them back, saying the topic you're going to be discussing next week. You get the point there. I always want to remind you too that if you are doing things on Instagram like cross-promoting different podcasts or cross-promoting different accounts, stuff like that, the things that go into like DMing other influencers or DMing your actual followers, these things are really important because they go into the engagement rates. They're what we talked about yesterday on LinkedIn as dark social and those DMs. That exists for Instagram as well. DMs go into the fact that you're not seeing them publicly on your feed. That's why it's referred to as dark social. But this is truly taken into account by the algorithm saying, okay, this person likes to DM. They're having a meaningful social interaction. Let's show them more from this brand. So think about these things that you can do to get found more and get your reach up by really understanding how the algorithm works. What we've really seen and embraced here at MeetEdgar is this ability to be fun on Instagram too. It does not have to be business all the time. You know our brand voice here at MeetEdgar is one of inspiration, a little cheekiness, a little sarcasm, and you really need to embrace that on Instagram in a lot of different ways, whether it's visually showing some behind the scenes content of who your followers are, of who your team is, or whether that's going out there and actually talking in your brand voice. That way, make sure every single post you're putting out there encompasses your brand values. Really make sure that you're asking simple questions of your audience so that you can get those responses back. Because engagement matters so much, if you can ask simpler, shorter questions, you're more likely to get an answer. I talk about this idea of training your followers. I know it sounds kind of weird, but truly, if you ask questions like, what was the last book you read? Where is your dream vacation home? These things that don't really dig too deeply into your personality, and they're just requiring a one-word answer, or even saying, hey, leave a heart emoji if you agree with XYZ. These things allow your followers to remind you that you want that response back. So really ask yourself, what is this piece of content leading to? Have an intention in mind. Is this an engagement piece of content? Is this a piece of content that I want to drive traffic to my site? Is this a sales piece of content I'm looking to convert my followers? Have that intent in mind so that you can have a call to action in every single Instagram post. Now, I know a lot of the time we get questions, you know, I want to drive traffic from Instagram, but URLs don't work, right? So if you post a URL on Instagram, it's not clickable. So there's a couple of different strategies here. One of them is the link in bio strategy. So link in bio means that the one clickable URL on Instagram is in your bio under that website. So if people click on that, they're directed there. A lot of people will take the nature of going in there and actually replacing that link in bio with whatever you're promoting in your feed post or your story post. This is a really good strategy because it, again, allows people to click. Not a lot of people are going to copy and paste if you just put an unclickable URL in there. But I would also encourage you to think about how many times you would actually do this on Instagram. I find it a little bit cumbersome if someone says link in bio when I'm in the middle of scrolling Instagram. I'm probably not going to be super likely to go to their bio and actually click on it if it isn't super engaging to me. So first, it's got to have a content call to action that's engaging. But another strategy you could take here is saying, hey, in the comments below, leave the word social media, or leave an emoji high five for me in the comments or in your story. If you leave an emoji high five, I will DM you the link to this blog post, or I will DM you the link to this lead magnet. Look how amazing this strategy is, right? All people have to do is tap the little high five emoji. You're getting comments, you're getting engagements. You then get to take it a step further and open up a conversation in your DMs. So I truly love this strategy for getting a few more Instagram followers and a lot more engagement rates there. And really make sure that you are doing things where you're opening up vulnerably on Instagram. We love as humans to get that look behind the curtain, right? It's one of our favorite things. That's why reality TV is so incredibly popular, is because we like having that behind the scenes sort of look. So I would suggest really getting out there and looking into the ways that you can open up vulnerably, because people like to read that type of content. Some of the ways to do this while still having boundaries on your personal life is to share some mistakes that you think perhaps your followers are making in their life now that you've made before and you've learned from. Become their mentor, save them some time, and it is truly so appreciated by people. This is also a really great way to point out pain points a lot of the time. So we talk about this marketing strategy that you want to point out someone's pain point in order to remind them, hey, I've got an outcome that is going to be way better for you, right? So pointing out people's pain points is really good. Making sure that you're really taking into account that you can be their mentor and providing them that value is a great way to really show them how your product or service can up-level their life. Other ways you can start to grow your Instagram following that we've seen success with is co-hosting live streams. So live streams on Instagram are done in your stories only. They do only last for 24 hours unless you do save it. But it's a great way because it opens your brand up to other people's audience and it opens their audience up to you. And this is a great way to make sure that you are getting the video engagement of having people hear how you talk, that tone of voice, reminding you that there's someone behind that computer screen. And collaboration goes really far for long-term leads as well. So making sure that you're opening up relationships with other companies who have a similar audience to you does wonders on social media. So truly, think about the key takeaways that you want your audience to have in every single Instagram piece of content. Go out there, do the work to research who your Instagram followers are. Build some urgency up, reminding them that there's a better life waiting for them with your product or service, because these are the outcomes that they're going to experience. Raise awareness on what's going on in their lives right now that you can help with. Give some quick tips that they can take into action and get results with today. When you get someone results right away, it is more likely they will trust you because they see you as an outcome-oriented business. And really just remind yourself not to take Instagram so seriously all the time. So thanks so much for popping in. It was a blast chatting with you today. Let me know if you guys have any topics you're looking to learn. We go live every single day across Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and we have such a joyous time doing it. So I'll see you guys later.